I talk to people in desperate situations, and maybe that's because it's part of my job description. And sometimes I have proper clients who come in when they're in a dire situation, but many times people message me because they're in a dire situation and they see me talking about this stuff online and they want a little bit of a help. Now, today I want to talk a little bit about really dire situations, right? And when we're in a dire situation, what's the perspective that we need to have? The first thing that's important is if you are in a mental state where you're not well, the first priority has to be getting well. So I can give you a lot of fitness tips, but if you just came out of a car crash, it's not going to apply to you. You need to get better first. You need to get rehab. You need to get physical therapy. Those are the things that are required so that you can take on some fitness tips to improve your physical health. Now, can I give you advice that really recovers your mental health? Yes, of course. But um, at the core, the things that I talk about in this channel, if you want to try to apply it to your life, it really, I can't overstate this enough. Um, it is very vital that you are in a mentally healthy state because otherwise you're gonna fall into a frame of thinking and then it'll warp the way that you think, and then none of the things that I'm going to tell you in this YouTube channel are going to apply to your life because you're not in the space to take it in. So that is like the first thing that you have to keep in mind when you're in a dire situation. Now, assuming we got that out of the way, and I'll make a separate video about what, like how to get better mentally, but the thing that we have to keep in mind is, yes, the situation is dire. Now, in dire situation, we tend to feel powerless because we think that this situation is going to last forever. We're in this hardship and we can try things, but more or less the predicament that I am in, it's not really going to change. And now that kind of an outlook on life, of course, makes things more dire than they need to be. So we need a balanced outlook when it comes to handling difficult situations. Suppose you just got out of jail and you need to find work. But at the same time, the places that employ people who were in jail, it's not that great, right? So now you find yourself thinking, "Oh man, this situation is really bad because this job isn't that great." But then otherwise, like I don't really have any options, and I need to be employed here to get my blah blah blah. So when we're in this kind of a situation, it's very easy for us to feel hopeless. But what we have to have a balance on is reality where yes, things will be difficult, but at the same time we can't put ourselves more down than we need to be doing. So what I mean by that is yes, things are difficult, but inside of you there is this root for change. There is this possibility to think differently. There is always an opportunity to engage with life in a new way. Now, this means all you have to do, easier said than done, is take advantage of the fact that you have everything that it takes for you to recover, for you to get yourself into better positions. We can't lose sight of that. The important thing is balance. The important thing is keeping yourself in the middle way. If we lean too much into one direction, then we kind of get into this idea of a false reality, right? Oh yeah, I have everything it takes to, make my life good. Okay. Yeah. So I'm pretty much set. No, I'm good. When your realistic situation isn't all that great. This is just going to lead to a discrepancy between your ideals and your life, and it'll make you feel worse. Why? Because you leaned too much into that potential. You had leaned too much into that I have what it takes. At the same time, if you lean too much into the other direction, now you find yourself in like, "Oh, what's the point? Nothing's going to change and my life is fucked." That's not really going to help you, right? Yes, the situation is bad. Do we wish that we were in a better situation? Of course. But the reality is the reality that we are facing right now. So we have to be we have to think strategically, we have to think rationally. Given this reality, what are my best options? And in the best options, yes, will it be hard? Yes. Will even the best options in this case, will they relatively suck? Of course, it can always think like that, right? It can always seem like that. But thinking along that lines ultimately isn't going to help you that much. What you need to be focusing on is, while keeping in mind the reality that you are living in today, what you need to be focusing and emphasizing your efforts and your conscious attention on is, I have what it takes to change. I have what it takes for me to move my life into the next level, right? And the more we focus on the things that we can do, the more we focus on the power that we do have, the less we feel powerless, the less we feel like we are a consequence of the world, the more we feel like the drivers of our life, which is something that you can have regardless of the life situation you find yourself in. Now, if you are in a dire situation and you need more help making this content more specific to your life, shoot me an email. I'm very accessible. Somebody DM'd me on Reddit today. So you can DM me on Discord, you can email me, you can use whatever methodology you find comfortable and accessible to reach out to me for help. Email me at billy@julylifecoach.com.